everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is Friday the 20th of March, so it's been exactly 1 week since I saw the Japanese therapist, and I'm actually on my way now to go and have my second session. But I just thought I'd quickly check in with you and let you know how the last few days have been. Dry cupping marks have completely faded on my back, so there's no discoloration there whatsoever. In terms of my arthritic pain and just general well-being, my left shoulder still feels amazing. It feels really loose and relaxed, and just generally my back's been a lot better. The tightness has been minimal. I still wake up every morning with, painful collarbones, pain in my spine, my hip joints and my hands. So that's still there, and these things are going to take time. I'm struggling quite a bit with my right side at the moment because I have arthritis in my right wrist, and I have an arthritic thumb, as well as most of my fingers are arthritic in that hand. So I'm hoping today's session will help with that. I thought I'd do what I did last time, which is come back after the session, check in with you, and then check in with you again on Monday. Let you know how I feel 3 days after today's session. Hello everyone, so I've had my second session with the Japanese therapist. I had that about 3 hours ago now, but I've just got back home. It went really well. I got there and she asked me how I was feeling, particularly my shoulder, because she knows I had shoulder problems from the first session, and I told her that this shoulder felt really good, and I conveyed that I was having a lot of problems with my right shoulder, and I also showed her my right wrist and thumb, and just showed her some of the deformity in my fingers. She started the same way that she started last week's session, which was me lying on the massage bed facing the ceiling. She examined my stomach just beneath my ribs, around my belly button, and then lower down beneath my belly button as well. Lots of kind of like pushing and prodding, trying to find, it was almost like she was trying to find tender points, and every so often she would ask me if that particular touch was painful. Then she spent a lot of time examining my hands, my wrist, my forearms, my neck, my spine. Again, she also did my legs and the soles of my feet. In terms of the actual treatment, I had acupuncture, and again she did what she did last week, which was taking an acupuncture needle and just pricking it through various points on my stomach. That was the first thing she did, and then once I was face down for the remainder of the session, she did acupuncture on my neck, on my shoulder. She did a lot of, obviously I couldn't see because I was face down, but I think she was poking the acupuncture needle and almost like swirling it or flicking it or something, and then pulling it out and then doing that again elsewhere, as opposed to putting a load of acupuncture needles and leaving them on me for 20 minutes, say. She really examined my spine in detail. I have a bit of a buffalo hump from being on steroids. When I was first diagnosed with arthritis, I was on steroids, and they have some really nasty effects, such as kind of like excess facial hair, which I've suffered from. You gain a lot of weight on steroids. You get that classic moon face, which I had. A lot of weight on my stomach, and like I said, I got a buffalo hump, which is a collection of, I think it's fat. Basically, steroids redistribute your body fat into undesirable places like your face and your stomach, and like I said, at the back of my neck. And I've been off steroids for almost 3 years. I've lost about 8 to 10 kilos, so a lot of the steroid-induced weight gain has gone. But I don't feel my face, the shape in my face, has gone back to pre-steroids. There's still a lot of fullness that just won't go. My stomach has flattened out a lot, and that's probably where I've lost most of the weight from. But I still have this buffalo hump, and again, I'm not sure if that will ever go, or whether it's actually bone deformity from the arthritis, like I have with my fingers. So like I said, she examined my neck in detail, and then she pressed on the top of my neck where my deformity is, but also along my collarbone joints, just to find out where the tender points were, and that's where she concentrated the acupuncture needles. Again, I also had one on the top of my head. With regards to my spine, the top of my neck, she pushed and she was counting, I don't know if it's the number of ridges, and then she asked me whether it was painful. So she deciphered the most painful point. Then she used some form of needle and made a hole, and then applied the suction cup. So I did actually have wet cupping today, but only in that one spot. And my hubby came with me today so he could see what was happening. and the needle used to make the piercing for the wet cupping, I did feel it more than an acupuncture needle, but it certainly is no worse than having a blood test, and I've had plenty of those. So if you're wondering how painful it is, it's not any worse than having a blood test. Then she applied the suction cups, and not a lot of blood came out. You know, my hubby was there watching, and he said it's almost like you get a paper cut. You know, it bleeds, you kind of like wipe it clean, a little bit more comes out, wipe it clean, and eventually it kind of like stops bleeding. So I didn't have a lot of blood come out, and it wasn't particularly dark or stagnant. And when we asked about that, she said it might be that I don't have a lot of blood coming out because I've just had, you know, it's been the time of the month, so there's not a lot of excess blood. I think that's what she was trying to convey. From the wet cupping that I've seen on YouTube, the videos, people have the suction cups applied for 5-10 minutes. Then the practitioner pierces that section and then reapplies the suction cups, and you know, that's when the bloodletting happens. But with me, she didn't apply a suction cup first. She just made the incision, then applied the suction cup. So I don't know if that difference in technique has resulted in, you know, me not having a lot of blood come through. Again, I have a cupping mark, but it's not very intense, just like it wasn't last week. She did use Moxibustion as well, and I had the stick-on patches. And the thing that was different today is that she studied my shoulder and my collarbone a lot. She could tell there were lots of issues on my right side, so she focused more on that area. Again, she was doing acupuncture and Moxibustion, one part of my body, and feeling for some kind of reaction in another part of my body. And the only thing different this week is that she did acupuncture with kind of like a stick-on plaster that has needles in it. And I'm just going to show you because she's actually put some on me that she wants me to keep on for a week. So I have some on my hand. Let me just try and show you. So it's like a plaster. And I don't know if you can see, but I don't think my camera is going to focus. But it has a little nodule in the centre, and that's where the needle is. So I have one on my wrist, which is arthritic, and on that thumb joint as well, which is also arthritic. And then I have 3 on my collarbone and shoulder joint, and she says she wants me to keep that on for a week. I'm seeing her next Friday. Already 2-3 hours after the session, I can feel the looseness in this right shoulder. It doesn't feel as tight. I feel like my pain levels have lessened. I'm really struggling to understand. To me, it almost feels like magic. I don't understand how this is working, but I can tell you that my pain is significantly less in this shoulder. It doesn't feel as tight. I didn't have dry cupping. It was just that one wet cupping cup. And like I said, it was on my buffalo hump, on the most painful ridge of my neck. And I'm keeping these little needle acupuncture patches on for the next week. I will check in with you again on Monday, so 3 days after my session, and just let you know how I'm feeling. Hello everyone, it's been 3 days since I had my second session with the Japanese therapist, so I just thought I'd check in with you and let you know how I'm getting on. I slept so well on Friday night. It was the best night's sleep I've had in ages. I think I probably slept for a good solid 4 or 5 hours. That may not sound like a lot, but for me that is a lot because I have very sleepless nights. I do suffer from bouts of insomnia every now and again. My right shoulder has been feeling a lot better, especially my thumb and my wrist. I mentioned when I checked in with you last that she gave me these little sticky plasters that had needles, a needle in it. That I had on my wrist and my thumb and my shoulder. Now through showering and stuff like that, they were kind of like getting a bit grubby, so I took those off. So I've not kept those on for the full week, but I don't know if they made a difference. But like I said, my right thumb, the swelling's gone down. It doesn't feel as stiff and as painful to use. My right shoulder has loosened up as well, but the problem I have with my right shoulder is because I'm right-handed, I'm constantly using my right hand and my right arm a lot more than my left, and just that repetitive action of just using it just to do day-to-day stuff, it kind of like tightens it, and it makes it a lot more painful. But there's nothing I can do about that, you know, because I'm right-handed. The overall pain in the shoulder and the collarbones has lessened, so I'm really happy with that. The cupping mark has more or less faded. I'm feeling really good. I think another reason for me feeling better is that the weather's been a lot drier in Japan lately, and I know from experience that I feel worse when the weather is wet and damp. It really seems to get into my joints, especially my hip joints, and then my pain levels start to go through the roof. Having this acupuncture and Moxibustion and cupping hasn't stopped me from taking my medication. I still take that on a daily basis. I also make sure I have as clean a diet as possible. And looking back, I think my diet had slipped a little, and I did a lot of research back in 2012 to look at all the different theories about the different food groups that could potentially aggravate arthritis and make your symptoms worse. So I went through an elimination diet type process, and I know that for me, the number one irritant food wise is sugar. And I'm not talking about natural fruit sugar, I'm talking about, you know, the white stuff. So I really minimize sugar in my diet. And then followed by that, if I eat too much dairy and processed food, again, it does seem to aggravate my arthritis. And Monday to Friday we eat at home, so we eat quite cleanly anyway. It's just when we go out and about on the weekend. And looking back, I think I had started to eat a bit more of the bad stuff. It just kind of like creeps in without you realizing. So this recent flares made me take stock, and I'm now really looking at everything I eat and making even more of a conscious effort to eat as cleanly as possible. I do exercise on a daily basis. It's nothing crazy like hitting the gym, but I walk a lot because, again, back in 2012 when I gave up work, 2011 was a really awful year for me. My arthritis was awful. I was waddling 90% of the time that I was walking because the arthritis in both my hip joints and my knee was so bad. I took stock a lot in 2012 over my health, and I literally invested a year of doing 3-kilometer walks 5 days a week to really help my hip joints. And since then, touch wood, my walking has been a lot better. I walk normally 90% of the time and probably only waddle about 10% of the time now. I can't wear high heels because of the arthritis in my knee and hips and my feet, but you know, that's okay, I can live with that. We'll probably not do another update after my 3rd session unless something drastically different happens, if she uses a different technique, or you know, I feel some kind of amazing effect. I think I'm going to leave it at this, and then if something significant does happen, I can always do an update video, but for the time being, just assume I'm having like a weekly session. I hope this has been useful. I know complementary therapies aren't something everyone believes in, and for those people that don't believe in it, I respect that. I personally do believe in them, and I know some people question their efficacy because there aren't that many clinical trials proving their value, but I think one of the things we've got to bear in mind is that clinical trials cost millions of pounds to do, especially if you want to do like a placebo-controlled or randomized clinical trial with, you know, significant participants. They cost millions of pounds, and ultimately no one is going to invest that money if they haven't got a product that they can market with exclusive rights so that they can recuperate their, you know, research and development and their clinical trial costs. And that's why pharmaceutical companies, you know, come up with new drugs and apply for patents and get exclusive marketing rights for the first 10 to 15 years of the product life, just so that they can recuperate those costs. And acupuncture isn't something you can do that with. You know, you can't have exclusive rights to acupuncture because it's not a product that, you know, you need to go and see a doctor and get a prescription for. It's something that any acupuncturist could do. When people question the validity of complementary therapies because of a lack of clinical trials, then I think, you know, we just need to be aware that clinical trials for something that isn't an exclusive product that's got patent protection, they're just not going to happen. No one's going to put the money into it. If any of you have had acupuncture or any other complementary therapies, then please let me know in the comments down below. I'd be really interested to hear about your experience. Or if any of you have arthritis or know someone that has arthritis and have any tips or recommendations of things that just might have worked for them that I could maybe try, then I'd be really interested in hearing from you. I will leave a link in the info box down below of a blog post that will accompany this video, and in there I'll have some photos that my hubby took of like the acupuncture needles and the Moxibustion patches, and I'm going to try and photograph. I kept the little sticky plaster with a needle, and I'm going to try and photograph that and see if my camera lens will pick up, because the needle is very short and very fine. I will also in the blog post talk about how much these sessions have cost me, just in case any of you are interested. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I will talk to you all in my next video. Have a lovely day everyone, take care, bye bye.